afternoon, everybody. Hello. 200 people in the chat to start things off. What is going on, everybody? How we doing? Happy day one of the winter meetings. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still kind of recovering from Juan Soto mania, to be completely honest with you. Last night was very hectic last night. But it wasn't even just last night. It's been the last, go back to Thanksgiving. I mean, my mind and my brain have been glued to the Juan Soto news since Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, I'm literally, where's my phone? I can't find my phone anywhere, but I'm holding my phone and I'm literally eating mashed potatoes as I'm checking the Juan Soto news. Some random guy named Mick, telling us that Soto was going to the Red Sox. I couldn't take my eyes off it. And since then, my eyes have been glued to my phone. And today, my brain was kind of dead. I'm not going to lie. I did put out a video today talking, what's next for the team. We're in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. I posted that probably a couple hours ago. But we're here tonight. We got a lot to talk about. The news does not stop, even though Juan Soto is a New York Met. I mean, let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second. I mean, I'm sure it probably already has for a lot of you at home, but Juan Soto is a New York Met, at least as of right now, for the next 15 years. Who knows what happens with all the, opt-out, whatever. I don't know, whatever. My brain's too fried to even think about that. Juan Soto is a New York Met for the next 15 years. That is crazy. But the show goes on. We got a lot to talk about here tonight. Kyle Tucker popping up in the news. Kyle Tucker, man. Could Kyle Tucker be a surprising trade candidate this offseason? Nolan Arenado, his name has already been up in the rumor mill for weeks now. Alex Bregman has popped up today. We'll talk about him. We got a lot of little news and notes. I feel like that's kind of the norm in the beginning of winter meetings. You hear all these tiny little things. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all. And I'll do my best here tonight to catch everyone up to speed. So even Jesus Luzardo popped up today. Jesus Luzardo. Remember him? Remember last offseason, Jesus Luzardo was one of the top trade candidates, and he ended up not going anywhere. So anyway, let's dive into it tonight. Now, the latest we got here on Mr. Kyle Tucker. My goodness. Hold on a second. Already I'm losing my story here. Already. I clicked out of my link by accident. Here we go. Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez, coming out of the winter meetings here today, right? Dana Brown, GM for the Astros, asked some questions. What's going to be going on here? Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez. And he pretty much said nothing is off the table. Didn't say he was going to trade the guys, but he said nothing is off the table. I mean, we've seen many times in the past where they gave, these guys give you a non-answer, which kind of tells you a lot. And listen, if you're looking at it from the Astros' point of view, you got to think here. Yes, the Astros, are they winding down with this competitive window? I mean, compared to what we were seeing, a couple of years ago, a few years ago, I mean, yeah, it looks like they might be on the tail end, but they still got talent there. They got guys that can do some things. They could absolutely be a team. If they make it to the playoffs, they can make a run. Sure, they bowed out a little early this past year against the Tigers, which I did call, by the way. I did not get many predictions right. I called that one, for crying out loud. But the Astros, every year, they're always going to be competitive. But you also have to think, too, their farm system, it's not looking strong, at least according to the big outlets out there like Baseball America. They don't rank very well. Fangraphs farm system rankings, they don't rank very well there either. The Astros, at some point, they're going to have to start paying attention to adding some prospects, right? And Kyle Tucker, I'm going to say this right now, right off the bat. Kyle Tucker is going to get paid next offseason. He's a free agent. One more season until he hits free agency. I don't know if anyone needs to know this out there, but Kyle Tucker is going to get a fat payday. Now, he's not going to get Juan Soto money by any means, but I personally think Kyle Tucker I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take. I mean, I don't know. But based off of numbers that he's been putting up over the last few years, I mean, if you take a look here, over the last 4 seasons, this guy has put up a 19 Fangraph wins above replacement over the last 4 seasons. That's really good. I mean, that's incredible. This year, over 78 games, he was hurt a lot this year. He put up a 4.2 wins above replacement. He put up a 4 wins above replacement in half a season. That is really good. Juan Soto, just to compare, Juan Soto finished with an 8 wins above replacement over a full season. Kyle Tucker did half of that. That's really good. Kyle Tucker is going to get paid, ladies and gentlemen. I would imagine, I mean, if you were to do the math over the last 4 years, he's been worth right around an average of a 5 wins above replacement on a little bit less. But if you're thinking about it from a value point of view, 1 win above replacement is worth $8 million. If he's worth right around a 5, he's averaging almost around $40 million of value per season. He's only just about to turn 28. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to get paid $40 million per year, but I think there's a legit shot he's going to be around that $35 million per year range. Do not be surprised if this man gets a big payday. Now, for the Astros, that gets getting back to them. Now, we'll talk about Alex Bregman in a little bit. Sure, could they bring back Alex Bregman? I could see that. But Kyle Tucker, are they going to be paying this man, $350 to $400 million bucks? I think it really could get into that range, especially with what we just saw with Juan Soto. Kyle Tucker, he's not Juan Soto by any means, but he's very good. I think there's a realistic shot here. Kyle Tucker could end up getting moved because, again, the Astros, I don't know if they're going to pay him, and at this point, this is a guy that has a lot of value. He's got 1 more season of control. The Astros, you got to think, every year they want to be competitive. I would imagine they probably want to move him now, and they're not going to wait till the deadline because they're going to be a team wanting to compete. They would like to get their roster in order going into 2025. I really think there's a chance you could end up seeing Kyle Tucker getting moved. Framber Valdez, on the other hand, I don't think they move Framber Valdez. I don't think they move him. I think at this point, pitching is just so valuable. I feel like they hang on to him. He's just been such a steady guy for them. I think at this point, hang on to the pitching, right? If you got to move Kyle Tucker, then so be it, right? But Framber Valdez, I feel like this is a guy they end up hanging on to, right? If you look at the current rotation, I'm going off of feel, right? You got Valdez as your ace, Hunter Brown, Reynel Blanco, Arrighetti, Luis Garcia. You got Lance McCullers Jr. coming back. Could Verlander come back? I mean, maybe we'll see. I think at this point you need to keep as much pitching depth as you can, especially if you want to stay competitive. If they were selling off everything, then yeah, see you later, Framber Valdez, right? I think he ends up staying. I think he's got too much value to the Astros to move. Now, if you were looking at teams that could possibly take a chance on Kyle Tucker, right? I think the Phillies would be a really nice fit. Right now, you don't see a great fit, but I think if they could do something with Nick Castellanos, he has been in the rumor mill. The Phillies have been trying to move this guy for the last couple of years. And Nick Castellanos is not a good contract. I know Phillies fans, they love Castellanos, but he's terrible defensively in the outfield. He's really a DH at this point. They'd probably have to eat some of the contract. But the Phillies, they're looking to make some upgrades. I know ownership is not happy. They can't be happy with how this past season turned out. I could see them maybe making a move like that. Kind of reminds me of Hunter Pence, right? Back when the Astros moved him years back, right? Kind of gives me that sort of a feel. I could see the Phillies maybe getting involved there. They definitely have some pieces that they could move. The Phillies are, in a way, they kind of remind me of the Astros in a way where they want to be competitive. They got some guys at the top of the farm that I could see them possibly be willing to deal. Could you do some kind of a package here? If I were to go to the good old trade machine, Kyle Tucker right now. I mean, you got to think also another thing to think about with Tucker. He's going to be getting paid. He got $12 million this past year. If I were to go to the projected salary for him, he's looking at around $16 million, right? So if you're at a projection for next year, I'm guessing they're projecting, 5.5 wins above replacement. That's a little bit above $40 million. Subtract the $16 million, you're looking a little higher than $30 million in trade value. So that looks right. Kyle Tucker, I think if you met up with the Phillies, they said, hey, listen, we got Justin. They've been trying to move Justin Crawford, it feels like, all offseason. This guy's been a popular name. Could you do something around Justin Crawford? Maybe throw in a couple guys? I don't know. I don't think Aiden Miller would go in that deal. Justin Crawford, maybe. I don't know. It sounds weird. Maybe you could send back Johan Rojas. That could be an outfielder for the Astros, right? He's a major league ready guy that could help them now. I don't know. Do something like that. Throw in a couple more pieces here, right? You got maybe someone like an Alex McFarland. Maybe someone like, even someone like Mick Abel, right? Mick Abel, this is a guy that hasn't been able to find his way, right? Gabriel Rincones. I think he's a pretty underrated guy. So maybe if you did something like this, sent back Justin Crawford, I don't know, Johan Rojas, maybe, a guy that could help them at the major league level. And then I see you in the chat, Draco. That was my next one. Or for the Astros, right? If you didn't want prospects back in return, get a major league ready guy back in return. I already talked about this in another video. You could do Alec Bohm, right? Alec Bohm has been on the trade block. So let's take a look here. Alec Bohm. If they don't bring back Alex Bregman, what is going on here? Here we go. Alex Bregman. So he's going to have a little bit of value. That could definitely make up the gap, right? I mean, you're not looking at a 1-for-1 swap. I think you're doing Alec Bohm, who has a couple more years of control, all right? That could definitely make up a lot of value right there. Throw in a couple more pieces, and you might have something here. I think you could see the Phillies and the Astros come together. Possibly, again, Philly, they got some stuff to really work on. They got to move some things, but, maybe. We'll see. But I would love Kyle Tucker on the Phillies. Some other possible landing spots. Maybe the Blue Jays, right? I mean, the Blue Jays, if they're not going to be able to get free agents to go there, maybe pull off a trade. I feel like they could use another bat here. Vlad Jr., Kyle, go for it for 1 year, right? You're pretty much at a point now where the farm, it's not looking all that great. I'm starting to see Blue Jays fans come out of the woodworks a little bit, saying it's time to rebuild. I'm already seeing those comments out there because they're having a hard time. They're having a hard time getting free agents. Well, if you can't get anyone to sign with you, go trade for a guy, all right? So maybe they could do something. I don't know if they got the pieces to really get it done, but, I could see the fit. If we're taking a look here, I don't think the Yankees will do another trade like this 2 years in a row. I don't see that, honestly. They did it for Soto last year. Will they do it again? I don't know about that. But you never know. The Yankee, Brian Cashman, he's always looking to make something happen. We'll see. But, Kyle Tucker, I think this could end up being pretty fun. My personal favorite fit would be the Phillies. I think you could do something with Alec Bohm. Gives the Astros a guy for the next couple of years, especially if Bregman doesn't go back. That, I think, is a... We'll talk about Bregman here in just a second. But you know what? I think that's a good way to... That's a good pivot right there. Let's talk a little Alex Bregman, shall we? And hey, listen, everyone, I can't help that my Red Sox are in the news, okay? I can't help that they're in the news. It's not my fault. I got to talk about them. Excuse Giraffe Neck Robbie, but we got to talk about the news. And Alex Bregman was getting a lot of heat this morning. Good heat. A lot of talk about Alex Bregman today. I woke up today. I'm still recovering from Juan Soto mania. All of a sudden, I'm getting hit in the face with Alex Bregman news, right? Rob Bradford, he talked today from the winter meetings saying, there looks to be some legitimate interest coming from the Red Sox for Alex Bregman. Bob Nightingale had been talking about it. He said last night that the Red Sox may immediately be prioritizing a pursuit of Alex Bregman in the aftermath of Soto's signing. So a lot of people coming out today with all this news. Alex Cora, he was talking at the winter meetings, talking very highly of Alex Bregman, almost like that they had signed the guy. That's how highly he was talking of the guy, right? Talking about how Bregman could end up moving, to second base. He would be able to handle it there. You got to remember at LSU, Bregman was a shortstop, all right? Bregman is a guy that can really play all over the infield. He's an athletic guy. I could absolutely see that. If you look at the Red Sox roster as of right now, your first thought might be, well, okay, Bregman's the third baseman. Okay, move Raffy to DH, move Yoshida somewhere, and then Bregman, he's your third baseman. Well, hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Hold the phone. Really, if you look back at the production at second base last year for the Red Sox, they were not getting a lot of good production. Vaughn Grissom, Red Sox legend, the man we got back for Chris Sale, I don't know what happened to that guy last year. He basically disappeared. I don't know. Vaughn Grissom, could he end up getting a chance next year? Sure. We'll see. But if the Red Sox are looking to really get back into it, Bregman, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So really, you could go with Bregman at second base. Raffy would stay at third. I personally think there needs to be an upgrade defensively at third base. What do I know? I'm just a doofus that sits at my desk. I don't know. I'm just looking at numbers. Sure. Yeah, he made some good plays this past year. But when you look at the routine play, throws are off. He bobbles balls, I don't know. That's just my opinion. But hey, Raffy, I'm all about it. If he can get better at third base, then yeah, stick with it. But Bregman, second base, I'd be all for it. And listen here, ladies and gentlemen, over 600 people in the chat. Did you know how good Bregman has hit at Fenway Park? Does anyone know this? It kind of caught me off guard, right? I've looked at the spray chart on Illustrator for StatCast, and I've seen, there would be a lot of balls if you played a full season at Fenway Park. A lot of outs would have been either doubles off the wall or homers. But I don't know if a lot of people know how good Alex Bregman has been at Fenway Park. 21 games, 98 plate appearances. He's hit .375 with an OPS of 1.240. 7 home runs, 9 doubles. Alex Bregman, man. Listen, I put a post last night after we missed out on Juan Soto, which was expected. I've always been a big fan of Nolan Arenado. I have a bit of a sweet spot for Arenado. That's just me. I've always loved the game with him. I love those late the late 2010 Rockies. I was a big fan of Nolan Arenado during that time. I love the defense. We didn't have a channel at that time, but I liked his game, man. Love the defense. I love a good defensive third baseman. There's just something about it, right? Like Mike Schmidt, I didn't really grow up watching, but that's just a guy, right? Just a good defensive third baseman in his career. Hit for a lot of pop. I like those kind of players. I like those gritty kind of players, man. And Arenado, I'm just a fan of him, so I probably have a bit of a sweet spot. But after waking up today, seeing the news, thinking about it, I never was opposed to Alex Bregman for the Red Sox. So, anytime someone suggested it, I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, Bregman, of course. Yeah, right-handed bat. He's got more of a pull swing. Yeah, Bregman at Fenway Park. All right, I'm all about it. But I'm a bit biased towards Arenado. He was a favorite player of mine in the late 2010s. But listen, I'm thinking about it more. I would like Bregman over Arenado at this point. We'll see. But there definitely seems to be some legitimate interest coming from the Red Sox point of view. I think Morosi put out there today, it was Morosi or someone else, but he said that he had been told by an executive, I think he said an American League executive, that he was betting on that Bregman would just go back to the Astros, which could happen. The Astros, if they were going to probably, based off of how they've been spending in the last couple of years, sure, Hader, Jose Abreu, but they're not really historically a team that goes out there and tries to win bidding wars, right? We'll see what happens here. You know, if the Red Sox really start to get involved, the Yankees, who just missed out on Soto, yeah, I mean, get those two teams involved, and all of a sudden the Astros might be saying, oh, well, see you later. Hey, Phillies, Alec Boehm, how about it? Right? I could see that. But I don't know. Bregman does check off a lot of boxes, has the versatility. Another good aspect about him going to the Red Sox is that if anything happened with Trevor Story, remember last year, Trevor Story, his shoulder just exploded out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden we didn't have a shortstop. Yeah, I mean, if anything happened in a pinch, you could put Bregman at short. All right. You know, so there is that aspect of it too. I think Bregman would be a great fit. Everyone, we got 700 people in this chat, and we have 70 likes. What are we doing? What are we doing? We need more likes. Come on, let's get to 200 likes at least. I need 130 of you right now to hit that like button for me. But moving on here from Alex Bregman, that's pretty much really it for Bregman at this point, right? The Red Sox were the hot news for him today. The Yankees, there's been some gossip around the winter meetings. I think Mark Feinstein was speculating that the Yankees could really get involved here. What ends up happening, right? Let's move on. Let's move on here. Let's actually transition to Nolan Arenado. Now, I did have Garrett Crochet up next, but let's go to Mr. Nolan Arenado. And once again, you know, he's been into... Oh, wow, we actually just got an update from Katie Wu. Oh, okay, we actually got some news here. Wow, in like the last minute or so. Got talking baseball. Oh, look at this. Oh, good timing. What great timing for that. Wow. Okay. Brian Hoke putting out there that the Yankees reportedly have interest in trading for Nolan Arenado. I like the idea of Arenado for the Yankees. I don't know if I like the fit necessarily at Yankee Stadium, but I mean, you know, a good veteran player. You know, you go back to the Yankees over the years, they always seem to kind of make these kind of moves where they bring in these veteran kind of guys, right? Josh Donaldson being one example. That was a couple of years ago. They made the move for him. Bringing in someone like Matt Carpenter, Cardinals legend as well. Who's another one? Who's another, you go back even further, right? Like Ichiro, right? They've always done stuff like that. They always bring in these veteran guys that are kind of starting to wind down a little bit. Who are some other examples? I'm trying to think. Give me some other examples in the chat. Yankees bringing in veterans. They had Ichiro. Who was it? Andrew Jones. That was another one. Andrew Jones. Yeah. You know, kind of like, it's like you post a picture of him in a Yankee jersey and you're like, whoa, they were on the Yankees at one point? Oh, Ryan, no, don't do that, Ryan. Not Juan Soto. Yeah, Carlos Beltran, Randy Johnson. That's a good one. Randy Johnson, Todd Frazier. You see what I mean? All right, Andrew McCutcheon. The Yankees have always kind of made those moves, bringing in the vets, you know. But that's coming in from Brian Hoke. The Cardinals are Fireside Yankees. They're saying the Cardinals have reportedly approached the Yankees. I wonder if the Yankees are maybe... Oh, Troy Tulowitzki. That's another one. Troy Tulowitzki. Gotta love that one. But yeah, okay. Well, there you go. The Yankees are maybe in the conversation for Mr. Arenado. And listen, at this point, the Yankees, they got to make some moves here. Now, when it comes to Arenado, now I know, you know, the bat has been regressing. This is why I think Arenado would be a good fit at a hitter-friendly park. I mean, honestly, I'll say this. This might sound kind of weird. Ooh, Odd Villain. That's a good one. Matt Holliday. That's another good one. Nolan Arenado, if Alex Bregman were to go to the Red Sox or the Yankees, Arenado can go to Houston, right? I mean, I think that would be a perfect swap, right? You got the short porch and left. I think that would be really good for Arenado. I think he needs to be in a hitter-friendly park. Let's actually pull up here. Nolan Arenado. Let's go to the illustrator. Let's see how he would do at Fenway, or not Fenway Park, Yankee Stadium. What do we got here? Let's do the spray chart. Let's go Yankee Stadium. Oof. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, you got the deep walls out there, but it's not too far out and left, right? I mean, if you go to St. Louis this past year, I mean, St. Louis is actually a little further. So yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't see too much of a difference, but maybe you can get a little bit more pop. Let's go to the expected home runs for Arenado. Let's see what that would look like at Yankee Stadium. What do we got? I mean, yeah, it would go down. See, he had 16 home runs this year, and they have an expected 12 at Yankee Stadium. Now, it would also go down at Fenway, but they got the Green Monster. So, in my opinion, I think Arenado would really use the wall, kind of like Mike Lowell. But again, if you look at Houston, I mean, the power would go up a smidge, right? So, the Dodgers have been a fun team for a long time for Arenado. But, we'll see. But I think at some point, I wonder if we're going to have to wait for Bregman to come off the board, and then teams will turn to Arenado or turn to the Cardinals for him. We'll see. But I think there is a real situation, a real possibility. I think the Red Sox even came up for Arenado today or yesterday. I'm going I think Sean McAdam might have said that. Let me actually look that up here. Was that Sean McAdam here today? Yeah, let me try that again. Sean McAdam, Nolan Arenado. Yes. So the Red Sox, they have engaged in preliminary trade discussions with the Cardinals regarding Arenado, according to Mr. Sean McAdam. Did he actually tweet that out today? He might have put it in an article. I think it was in one of these articles, but Sean McAdam did report that today. So really, you're looking at the third base market. It seems to be between the Red Sox and the Yankees at this point. We'll see. We'll see. But Arenado, I think you could maybe see a possibility here. Bregman signs with one of them. Arenado goes to the other. We will see how that unfolds. Let's move on to the next story. Let's talk a little Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet, what the heck's going on with this guy? How about the Milwaukee Brewers trying to make some things happen here? The Brewers are reportedly engaged in Garrett Crochet. I mean, this is kind of all over the place. I've been saying this for a little bit now. I think really the White Sox should wait for Corbin Burnes and Max Fried to come off the board. I mean, the demand is only going to go up at that point. It feels like you're probably just gauging interest at this point. You're kind of feeling it out. You're seeing what teams are looking to do. But when it comes to the Brewers, I don't know. Now the Red Sox, they've been connected with them. John Heyman said today, though, did he say this on his stream? I don't know where he said this. Heyman, he likes to speculate. He likes to throw stuff out there. But I guess he said at one point today, I think the White Sox wanted Roman Anthony. I'm going to say this. For everyone making mock trades out there, stop putting Roman Anthony in the mock trades. Stop it. Stop doing that. He's not going anywhere. I know people love the idea of adding Roman Anthony. I get it. He's really good. He's not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. So if the White Sox are wanting Roman Anthony, toodaloo, Chicago, we'll go elsewhere. We'll go elsewhere. But for the Brewers, I don't know. This one feels weird because you got to think. They just traded away Corbin Burnes, right? They gave up, they ended up getting, thinking back to the package, right? You got, wow, I'm going like completely blank. You got Joey Ortiz and DL Hall, right? So, you just got rid of him. Are you really going to bring him in or bring in another guy at this point? It just feels a little off. I get it. The Brewers are always wanting to compete. I guess you could trade for him, help your chances for this year. And if it doesn't work out, just move him next offseason. Because this is what the Brewers do. They don't sign guys. I could maybe see that being the thought process. Bring him in, try to help you win this year. And then maybe next offseason, you trade him away before he's 1 year away for free agency, right? But the Brewers, sounds kind of fun, right? If we were to think of some possibilities, if the White Sox want position players, right? So maybe you could do a deal around Cooper Pratt, maybe a Jesus Made. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Tyler Black, maybe you could do a package around those three. But it feels like after that, because, the Brewers, they got some guys. I don't know. You got someone like Jefferson Cuero, but they already got Edgar Cuero. So, I don't know. Would the White Sox want that? Sal Frelick's clock has already started. Jacob Misarowski. Do they want more? Do they want more pitching? I don't know. That's why I'm thinking, Cooper Pratt could be a guy. Jesus Made. Tyler Black. Something like that, man. I don't know. Maybe the Brewers could end up being a surprise when it comes to pulling off a deal for Crochet, but I don't know. I think, again, you got to wait for these two guys to come off the board. Corbin Burns, Max Fried. That's when I think you're going to see things start to get a bit more serious. Maybe even a little after that. Guys like Nathan Eovaldi. I think Eovaldi, I'm surprised he's not off the board yet. Another guy out there has been, where is the story here? Has been Jesus Luzardo. Jesus Luzardo is coming back into the news. Let's see. Did they have the story out here? I don't think they did. No, they did not. Let me go back here to Twitter. Jesus Luzardo. Okay, yeah. So John Morosi had this. Jesus Luzardo is drawing trade interest at the winter meetings. One complication, Luzardo did not pitch after June 16th this year due to a lumbar stress reaction. He's got 2 more years until free agency. Remember last year, man, he was such a hot target out there, right? Coming off a great year with the Marlins. Highly sought after, right? I had been told personally the Orioles were making a very strong push for Luzardo. I saw somewhere else that that I guess they were a little spooked by some of the medicals. I don't know how accurate that is. I don't remember where I saw that. But Luzardo, if he's healthy, if he's good to go, if the back's feeling all right, I was kind of thinking, because he didn't get moved at the deadline, I even thought still maybe there could be a chance he could be moved at the deadline depending on how the back was, but ended up being where it still wasn't very good. So I started thinking, all right, maybe the Marlins end up hanging on to him and they move him at the deadline. That could still happen because you got to think here with Luzardo, his value has gone down a little bit because of the back injury. He didn't pitch in the second half, but if teams check out the medicals, the good thing is it's not an arm, right? It's the back, right? Yes. So I know all about a grumpy back. You don't have to tell me. But Luzardo, yeah, if he's good to go, we know what this guy can do. Here are the advanced metrics back from 2023. He put up great numbers. ERA in the mid-3s. FIP a little bit lower. 32 starts. Good stuff. Good velocity. Yeah, Luzardo out there. 2 more years of control as well. Yeah. I could see Luzardo, if teams are really starting to get desperate for some pitching and Garrett Crochet is off the board, then yeah, why not Luzardo? Again, the Marlins are kind of in a good position for Luzardo. Really because, again, pitching is in demand. It's always in demand. But the thing is the Marlins, they can just hang on to him. It's not like they're in a dire state to move him like the White Sox are in. The White Sox need to move Garrett Crochet. It's silly at this point to even have him be on your roster on opening day. There's no need to hang on to him anymore. You don't want to risk anything. His value is so high at this point. Luzardo, he could still rebuild that value. So I could see the argument for the Marlins still hanging on to him. But again, the Marlins are in a good position. If teams are really desperate, hey, show us the medicals. How's the back looking? What's going on there? If he's good to go, let's work something out, right? And he has enough value to where the Marlins, they could still pull off a pretty good package despite the back injury. All right. And obviously with the market, I mean, you could probably end up seeing a pretty good overpay. His value at one point was I believe in the 50s last year, right around where Garrett Crochet is right now. It was very similar. So yeah, the Marlins, they could definitely get back a good package. And, you could run through the teams. I mean, it's all the teams really that have been connected with Crochet. I mean, if we're looking at, what was the last update we had on Crochet besides the Brewers? So the Brewers have jumped in. As of late, we've seen the Cubs get involved. The Padres, the Yankees have been connected. The Red Sox, the Reds were connected, but that's kind of been toned down a little bit. When it comes to the Reds, there were discussions at one point, but someone from the Cincinnati Enquirer said that, that pretty much got nowhere. So I'd probably count out the Reds at this point. The Red Sox, really, they're just kind of hanging around, I feel like. In my opinion, the Red Sox, go get freaking Corbin Burnes, for crying out loud. Please go get Corbin Burnes. My goodness. I don't know. I saw another report out there that Max Fried, let me actually look this up. Max Fried. Of course, my fat fingers cannot type. What was the latest on Max Fried? Mark Feinsand. He said the Yankees, I mean, they're already pursuing him, so I don't know why he's writing it like this. Well, let's go to this one. Gordo, Boston Sports Gordo. He's always good. Mark Feinsand just said on MLB Network that his gut tells him Max Fried will be the Yankees' big splash of the winter meetings. Now, we did get some reports not too long ago that from Michael Kay saying that they had a really good meeting, right? I guess he really enjoyed what the Yankees had to say. I guess they had another meeting scheduled. We'll see. I mean, listen, you got Anthony Volpe behind you in the infield, a great defender out there. I know people like to joke on Volpe a lot, but my goodness, that guy has a good glove. If you got him behind Fried, who gets a lot of ground balls, that's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I mean, if you bring in Fried, I mean, you got Cole, you got Rodon, and Fried, Luis Heel, Clark Schmidt. That's a really good 1 through 5. That's really good. And then Marcus Stroman at that point. I don't know. What do you do with Marcus Stroman? You got Nestor Cortez too. So I don't know. Out for Fried as well. But I was also speculating about this too. Max Fried, this has been a guy, and I think there was also something with the Giants with Max Fried. Who put this out there? Buster Olney put this out there. As we move forward in free agency, one possible fit worth watching. Max Fried of the Giants. He's being evaluated by contenders in the Northeast, but some executives wonder what his preference will be if it comes down to the Giants versus the Yankees, Mets, or Red Sox. Now, there have been some talks kind of behind the scenes that Max Fried prefers the West Coast. He has family out there. I believe his girlfriend or fiance, I don't know what the specific is on that she has family out there too. So I think that's a preference of his. He grew up there. But I'm thinking in my head, well, the Dodgers are probably not going to do it. You got Blake Snell now. Artie Moreno for the Angels, he doesn't like giving out big contracts for pitchers. Would he even want to go to the Angels? I don't know. Padres, their payroll situation's been weird over the last couple of years. They probably, I think they're looking more at like someone like Roki Sasaki. I mean, really the only team that could make sense for Max Fried on the West Coast at this point would be Max Fried. I mean, or the Giants would be the team that makes the most sense for him. I don't know. But then you see Corbin Burnes. There's been a report out there that he may prefer the West Coast. He's originally from California too. So unless the Giants bring in both, I don't know. I mean, could you see a situation where Fried could maybe go to the Giants, and that could open up the possibility of Corbin Burnes maybe going to the Yankees or the Red Sox, maybe even the Mets? I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that can happen. But, hearing that Michael Kay report, that was interesting, right? That he really enjoyed the meeting. God, I never once thought of Max Fried for the Yankees. I think Fried would actually be a great fit for the Giants. I really do. Now that you got Chapman and Willie Adames in the infield, ground balls, that's a good fit. We'll see. Could the Giants possibly get involved there? They have been connected with Corbin Burns. Maybe now that they brought in Willie Adames, thinking, all right, we just spent the big bucks on him. Maybe we can go a little cheaper for Fried. Right? I don't know. I could see that maybe. Maybe. And then Corbin Burns, you are a Boston Red Sox. Done. All right, moving on. But that's the latest with Garrett Crochet, Jesus Luzardo. All the teams want pitching. But let's go over some last-minute news and notes here. We got a little something. So earlier today, the Tigers, this popped up. That also, I want to point on that. Jets from the chat. I see you, Correa. Watch out. I wonder if Carlos Correa. Wait, did we get a report on Correa? Let me know in the chat. Was there a report on Carlos Correa, or are you just kind of throwing something out there? I will also say that, though. I wonder if Carlos Correa could end up coming up in this offseason at some point. We'll see. That could be a guy that maybe could move over to third base. We'll see. Remember, he almost did it with the Mets. So, because the Twins, they might be looking to cut some payroll. Maybe they could end up moving Carlos Correa. Let's say, could you imagine this? I don't think this happens. Imagine this. My potato brain is spinning. Could you imagine if Bregman goes to the Red Sox, Arenado goes to the Yankees, and all of a sudden the Astros trade back for Carlos Correa to play third base? That'd be hilarious. That won't happen, but that would be funny. On to here. The Tigers, interested in Walker Buehler, Kyle Gibson, and Andrew Heaney. But then only a couple hours later, that's not the right report. That's not the right report either. What happened to the report? I always click out of stuff. And then they signed Alex Cobb. So could they still maybe be showing some interest in these guys? Buehler, Gibson, and Heaney? Maybe. But they brought in Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb was hurt a lot this past year. Remember, he got moved at the deadline. The Tigers, I mean, listen, they've done a great job. Look what they did with Jack Flaherty. Can they maybe get a full season out of Alex Cobb? We'll see. Back to the Red Sox. They had been showing some interest in Anthony Santander. I personally don't like the fit. I liked Juan Soto. I know Santander's a switch hitter, but he's more of a lefty. Yeah, power bat. Yeah, I mean, deep right field in Fenway. Yeah, that power would play. I wouldn't hate it. I want Teoscar. That's where I want the Red Sox to go. I would love it if they brought in Bregman and Teoscar. Would love that. But Anthony Santander on the Red Sox radar. Cody Bellinger continuing to generate trade interest. It looks like Seiya Suzuki will not be going anywhere. I think Cody Bellinger for the Yankees makes a lot of sense. I mean, everyone's been saying that. It makes a ton of sense. And if I'm thinking of maybe some other teams, I think the Blue Jays, get back to them. That could make some sense. But Cody Bellinger, it is heating up. I don't think Seiya Suzuki was really good. The Cubs want to win. You got to think of that too. They want to win. Seiya Suzuki was a really good bat last year. The Dodgers, ladies and gentlemen, what do you know? The Dodgers are in the news. Of course they are. Devin Williams, Tanner Scott on their radar. Devin Williams. Yeah. I could see the Brewers moving him. I know they said at some point this offseason, we're not really, we don't really need to trade Devin Williams, But I could see them still doing it. Maybe. Tanner Scott, though, I'm very excited to see where Tanner Scott ends up going. I think he's going to have a big market. I said this in a video today. I think the Yankees should go get Tanner Scott. I really do. I mean, now you have so many possibilities now that you missed out on Soto. I'm not saying you need to go out there and spend $760 million. That's just not how it works, right? Juan Soto, that was Juan Soto money. That's not Tanner Scott money, right? That's different. That's a different bank account right there, right? But Tanner Scott, I think, makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. They need a high leverage reliever at the back end of the bullpen. We'll see. I think Devin Williams could be more of a target. I mean, well, listen, the Dodgers, we know they got money. They could go get Tanner Scott, but I would like to see them pull off a trade. I feel like they were connected with him last offseason at some point. I could be wrong. The Tigers, they brought in Alex Cobb, and I guess they're interested in Paul Goldschmidt. Well, that's an interesting one. That's a different one. Well, what do you do now with Spencer Torkelson if you bring in Paul Goldschmidt? I don't know. I mean, that sounds weird. I don't know about that. I mean, I would imagine Paul Goldschmidt is probably going to be your first baseman over Spencer Torkelson. I don't know. And also, we got the Phillies signing Jordan Romano. 1-year deal. He was non-tendered by the Blue Jays. I think, I saw some people getting pretty grumpy at that one. But I think, for the Blue Jays, he was hurt this past year. I don't know. They probably want to go after other guys that they know that they can count on. But are they going to be able to sign anyone? But for the Phillies, though, that could end up being a good low-key pickup. Right? Guaranteed $8.5 million this year. They must have felt pretty good about the medicals. Must have felt pretty good about it. But everyone. Oh, also we had this one today. No momentum towards the Padres and Luis Arraez on an extension. I'm telling you, Luis Arraez, I would not be surprised. Did that rhyme? I think that rhymed. I would not be surprised if he ends up getting traded again. I wouldn't. He's going to be making a lot of money in arbitration. The Padres, again, getting back to the payroll. They've been kind of weird with the payroll the last couple of years. Just pointing that out. Here. Wouldn't be surprised. We'll see. I believe we had a couple super chats in here. Let's kind of wrap things up. Shall we? Let me get off to the couple. Let me head off to the couple of super chats. Here we go. Alrighty. Hold on one second here. I can't see the super chats. Why aren't the super chats showing up for me? Let's pull them up on here, everyone, because I know we had a couple. All right, let's see. What do we got? Well, that's not working either. Well, what am I supposed to do? Well, I don't know what to do. Hold on one second. We'll figure this out. Let's get back over here. Let's go back. Let's do that. So that way you're not having to be zoomed in on my potato face. Okay, here we go. Let's do... Okay, this is working. There we go. One second, everybody. Everyone, while I'm pulling up these super chats, hit that like button for me. Hit the like. I know a lot of you have not hit that like button for me. Here we go. What do we got? There we go. Jason, $1.99. Posey, get me Burns. Kyle Tucker next year. Ooh, I like that idea. Kyle Tucker in San Fran. That'd be fun. Look, I think, listen, Corbin Burns, I would love that. What a 1-2 punch that would be. What a great combo that would be with Corbin Burns and Logan Webb. Those guys have been in the top 3 in innings pitched over the last couple of years. Very good 1-2 if they could do that. Patman0074, $5. Cease and some prospects for Tucker. Both Reynolds. Astros could lean into a sick rotation. That would be pretty fun. I actually kind of like the creativity on that. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of, it could work. Could work. I wonder for the Astros if they would want to get someone that has a bit more control. That's where I see that. Also from the Padres' point of view, too. That's a fun swap. I like the idea of it. And that would make sense for the Padres to get an outfielder, like you said, to replace Profar. I mean, yeah, it makes sense on paper. I just wonder if those two teams would want more cost-controlled guys. That's the only thing I have against that. Let's see here. We got here Mets fan, $1.99. Manaea and Mets may be close. We'll see. I think Manaea, to me, I wonder if the holdup there is the amount of years. I think he's going to want a 4th year. I wonder if teams are trying not to go past 3. We'll see. But I think it would make a lot of sense for him to stay. Aaron666, any other news on the Orioles? I haven't heard a thing. That's really disappointing, man. The Orioles. Like, what are you doing? What are the Orioles doing? You have so much payroll flexibility. Corbin Burns, I don't think he's coming back. You're not hearing anything on the Orioles unless they maybe make like a late run for him that we just haven't really been hearing about. I don't know. Oh, Lane Kerner. Also, Anthony Rizzo to the Pirates. All right. Bob Nutting, he's actually spending money. My goodness. But yeah, I haven't heard anything on the Orioles. Nothing really. But everyone, I'm going to wrap this up here. That is all for tonight. Just kind of wanted to run through the news, kind of hang out with you guys. We had over 800 people at one point. Thank you for that. Everyone, if you can on the way out, help us get to 300 likes. And we'll probably be back here tomorrow. We'll be here for the rest of the week talking all things winter meetings. But everyone, go have yourself a good night. I think Jim over at Ballcap Sports is live. Head over to his stream. I know he's going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So everyone, have yourself a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.